Good evening and welcome to Twin State Sports. I'm Zach Siminar. After having gotten off to a terrific 3-0 start, the Mississippi State Bulldogs had a little rough patch in their season, but Dan Mullen's crew got back on track Saturday. The Bulldogs raced out to a 21-3 halftime lead at home before crushing the Cougars of BYU 35-10. Nick Fitzgerald threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for 2 more to lead the Bulldog attack on offense. The Bulldogs did turn the ball over 3 times to BYU's 2, but it was all rather meaningless for MSU, who outgained BYU's offense by more than 3-1. J.T. Gray finished the day for the Dogs with 8 tackles. Next up for Mississippi State is homecoming this Saturday against the Kentucky Wildcats. It was a good day for beatdowns in the SEC, and there was another one just down the road from Starkville. The Ole Miss Rebels, fresh off of 3 straight losses, were able to pick up their first conference win of the season with a beatdown of Vanderbilt. Less than a week after being added to the Biletnikoff Award watch list, Rebel wideout A.J. Brown exploded for 174 yards on 8 catches, 2 of which went for scores as Ole Miss threw up his most points since September of 2015. The Rebels actually fell behind 14-7 before rattling off 28 unanswered to gain control of the game. And Coach Matt Luke talked about the turning point of Saturday's contest.
You know, the defense kept giving us chances, and that's a huge deal. And I think to win football games, you have to feed off each other. And I think that we did that today. I think our defense got turnovers, they got sacks. The offense fed off the defense fed off the offense.
Next up for the Rebels is 24th ranked LSU on Saturday. And in the 87th annual cat fight, the Jones County Bobcats stomped Pearl River on Saturday 52-31. Bobcats piling up 609 yards of total offense on their way to a 6-1 record for the year. Chris Weaver threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for 2 more, while Kendall Parham grabbed 6 balls, 174 yards for him. Nearly all those yards came on 2 catches that went for scores of 93 and 78 yards respectively. Jones County will close out their home schedule this weekend, a game against Hines that gets underway at 2 p.m. Well, it was an eventful game at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome on Sunday for the New Orleans Saints. They won their 3rd straight game of the season. New Orleans, not on the strength of their offense, but rather their defense, led Detroit 45-10 midway through the 3rd, thanks to 4 Lion turnovers and 2 Saints defensive touchdowns. New Orleans defense and special teams, which had been strong for 10-plus quarters, nearly allowed the Lions to complete the biggest comeback in NFL history when Detroit trimmed the Saints' lead to 7 with 6:41 to go, but a 5th Detroit turnover and a franchise record 3rd defensive touchdown from the Saints, courtesy of Cameron Jordan, sealed the wild victory for New Orleans.
You credit our defense for 21 points. That was significant. Our punt return, our punt coverage stunk. I thought the turnovers by us in the second half were poor. We did a lot of dumb things, but fortunately our defense did a lot of good things.
Unfortunately, there were certain things that we knew couldn't happen that ended up happening. You know, we knew we couldn't turn the ball over 3 times in the second half. That can't happen. Really disappointed with the way that we finished the game offensively in that last quarter and a half. Didn't feel like we ever found our rhythm. Didn't ever feel like we established any type of presence on any of those drives. You know, defensively, we were playing lights out.
Next up for the Saints, they go to Green Bay to take on, I think, is it Nick Hundley and the Packers.
Well, we're not used to having somebody else. So.
You know what ticked me off, though, is I was watching the Saints game. I wasn't watching the game, but I was keeping tabs on it. They had 31 points. I looked. Drew Brees has 9 fantasy points. So I'm like, okay, I'm disappointed. Then I find out they have 52 points, and Drew Brees ends up with 11.5 fantasy points.
That's what we owe because
of 3 defensive touchdowns.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, just so disappointing.
Well, it wasn't the tackling that helped the defense out.
Big Zach.